Today we're going to be sharing with you guys about what a story group is and why it's so essential to our ministry here among the Mixtec people. And so with our ministry, it's very strategic that we do evangelism and discipleship in a group setting. The Mixtec people are very communal people and they're very family oriented. And so a lot of the times, if we're trying to share the gospel with one person, it's really hard for them to make a decision to follow Christ if they don't have the support of their family, or even if their family, it's not even always about if their family chooses to follow Christ with them, but if they feel like they're supported in that decision to choose to follow Christ. And so that influences a lot of what we do here is we do it in a communal setting. When we find someone who wants to learn about the Bible, we invite them to invite their family and their friends and whoever they can gather to learn Bible stories together. And so in this setting, we have a story set that goes through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, kind of like a who Jesus is, who are we, what is sin, and why do you need the forgiveness of your sins. And so we journey through that together with these families, and normally it's a weekly event. We go to their homes weekly and try and visit with them and just share these stories, walking with it verse through verse through this story so that they can understand truly what it means to be a follower of Jesus, and they as a family can choose if they want to follow Christ together. And so this influences a lot more than just our evangelism strategies, as it also influences our discipleship strategies. And so in our discipleship, we have kind of the same setup going on. All the believers that have been baptized are now gathering together, and we've studied the book of Acts together, and now we're studying kind of just an overview of what a church is and how they can be involved in the process of forming a church among their people. And this is also a story set, and this is also a communal setting through these story group type events. And so we also have a podcast, several podcasts about this. One is about oral methods for discipleship. One tells about our different story groups. And so if you guys want to learn more about those, you can check it out. So right now we have 3 story groups, and these are made up of different people who are wanting to study the Bible, but they don't really know or understand a lot about the Bible. And so it's really cool to be able to be involved in that and going with the different families to go and just spend time with them and just study the Bible and teach them who Jesus is and who they are and their sin, and that separates that relationship with them from God. And so there are several different stories in this story group that are really challenging for the Mixtec people because it goes completely contradicts their faith and their beliefs. And so one of those is the third story in our story set, and it's the prophets of Baal. And so when we're talking about this story, it's just such an eye-opening experience for them to realize that the God of the Bible is the one true God. And the false gods or the idols or the saints that they're worshiping, just like we can see in the Bible times, they're not real. And in this story, we see that God sent down the fire from heaven to consume the offering, and the false god, the god of Baal, their offerings was not consumed. And so in this story, it's just really cool to see how the Lord works in their hearts and in their minds to start understanding more about his character. And it's really cool because a lot of these people are Catholic, but even the Catholic beliefs here are different from in the States. And these people, they might have a Bible, but they might not study the Bible, or they just have it and it's in their home, but they've never read it. And so being able to read the Bible with them is such a cool, it's almost like a point that we can meet them at. It's that they have a Bible, but they don't really know how to study it, or they've read it before, and they're like, okay, I don't know. I started reading it, and then I was learning about just all these complicated things that I couldn't understand. How am I supposed to understand the Bible to know who Jesus is, to be able to follow him? And so as we go in and just be with them, take their Bible, bring our Bible, open it, and start teaching them how to study the scriptures and teaching them through Bible storying what it means to be a Mixtec follower of Christ, because that even looks different than what it looks like to be a believer in the States. It looks different because their culture is different, their beliefs are different, their background are different, their communal setting of life is so different. And so that's why we use Bible storying as a means of discipleship and evangelism here in this Indigenous community.